I have not paid a water bill in close to 40 years. The system that replaced it cost me less than $200 to build. It has no motor. It has no filter you need to replace. It runs on gravity and rain and the way my wife Yuki was taught to think about water before she ever set foot in America. What I am about to show you is not a single trick. It is a 4-layer system that collects, stores, filters, and distributes water through our home and garden without a single gallon passing through a municipal meter. And the reason most Americans have never heard of it has nothing to do with whether it works. The average American household pays somewhere between $70 and $80 a month for water. That is roughly $1,000 a year. Over the life of a mortgage, that is $30,000. Over 40 years, which is how long Yuki and I have lived in this house, it is closer to $40,000. $40,000 for a substance that falls out of the clouds, lands on your roof, rolls off the shingles, pours down the gutter, and disappears into the storm drain while you stand at the kitchen window watching it go. You paid for none of that rain. The city did not manufacture it. The utility did not create it. It arrived on its own, free of charge, and nobody caught it. Instead, every month, you paid the water company to pump different water from a treatment plant through a pipe to your faucet, where you used it one time and sent it down the drain. Every gallon metered, every gallon billed, every gallon used once and discarded. The water utility model works the same way as every other subscription industry. It needs you to believe there is no alternative. But your roof is already a collection surface. The rain is already falling. Your house is already a catchment system. You are just letting it run into the street. Before I show you how the system works, for the people who want every method I teach on this channel and the ones I have not shown yet, all in one place, I have written them down in a guide at my website. The link is just below this video. I will not mention it again. If you want it, it is there. Now, let me show you what Yuki built. The system has 4 layers: collection, storage, filtration, and distribution. None of them are expensive. All of them are old, and together they turned our home into something the water company cannot meter. The first layer is collection, and it starts where your standard downspout ends. On every corner of our house where the gutter meets the drain pipe, Yuki replaced the enclosed downspout with something the Japanese have used since the Edo period, more than 400 years ago. It is called a kusari doi, a rain chain. Instead of hiding the water inside a closed pipe where you cannot see it and where leaves, dirt, and debris collect and clog, the rain chain is an open series of copper cups linked together that guide the water down from the roof slowly, cup by cup, into a collection vessel at the base. You can watch the water arrive, you can hear it, and because the chain is open, it never clogs. A closed downspout clogs every season. You climb a ladder, clear the blockage, climb back down, and wait for the next one. A rain chain has no interior to block. Debris falls past it. Water follows the cups. It has been this way on Japanese temples and tea houses for 4 centuries, and the design has not changed because it did not need to. Installing one on an American gutter takes about 15 minutes. You remove the existing downspout by unscrewing the brackets that hold it to the wall. The hole in the gutter where the downspout connected is your outlet. You place a V-hook or a gutter adapter kit into that hole, hang the top link of the rain chain from the hook, and let it hang straight down to your collection vessel underneath. For heavier rainfall areas, a cup-style chain works better than a link style because the cups contain the water as it cascades down and reduce splashing. In lighter rain, the link style is fine and costs less. A copper rain chain runs about $40 to $60 and lasts 50 years or more. The copper develops a green patina over time that most people find beautiful. Yuki has not replaced a single one in nearly 4 decades. If you want to start cheaper, You can make a functional rain chain from linked metal cups or even heavy gauge wire for almost nothing. The engineering is simple. The water follows the chain down. Gravity does not charge a monthly fee. The second layer is storage. At the base of each rain chain, Yuki positioned a large collection vessel. In Japan, the traditional choice would be a wooden taru barrel bound with bamboo hoops or a ceramic kame jar, the kind you still see outside old farmhouses and temple gardens catching rain the way they have for centuries. Here in America, Yuki uses 55-gallon drums, which cost about $15 to $30 each and are easy to find at farm supply stores or online. The principle is identical no matter the vessel. Each barrel sits on a platform of cinder blocks, raised about 18 inches off the ground, so gravity can do the work later when it is time to distribute. A mesh screen covers the opening to keep mosquitoes from breeding in the standing water and to catch any debris that slips past the rain chain. Yuki wired fine aluminum screen over each barrel opening and secured it with a hose clamp, which keeps even the smallest insects out. The critical detail most people miss when they set up rain barrels is connecting them to each other. A single 55-gallon barrel fills in a moderate rain and overflows within an hour. That overflow is wasted water. Yuki solved this by drilling a hole near the top of each barrel, about 2 inches below the rim, and running PVC piping from that overflow outlet to the inlet of the next barrel, so when the first barrel fills, the excess flows into the second, and when the second fills, it feeds the third. 3 barrels connected in series, each one catching what the last one cannot hold. You can use PVC pipe and standard fittings from any hardware store. The total cost of connecting 3 barrels is about $10 in pipe and fittings. In a year with average rainfall, 1,000 square feet of roof collects roughly 18,000 gallons. Our 3 barrels hold 165 gallons combined, which means they fill and refill many times over through the season. The water is always fresh because it is always cycling. Old water gets used. New rain replaces it. The third layer is filtration, and this is the one that separates a rain barrel from a water system. Yuki built a gravity filter using a method the Japanese have practiced for generations. It is a separate barrel, not connected to the storage barrels in series, but fed from them through a spigot and a short hose when you need filtered water. Inside the filter barrel, she built 3 layers. The bottom layer is clean river gravel, about 4 inches deep, which acts as the drainage bed and keeps the sand above it from clogging the outlet. The middle layer is coarse sand, another 4 inches, which catches fine sediment, particulates, and suspended matter that makes raw rainwater look cloudy. And the top layer is crushed binchotan charcoal, the same activated charcoal I have talked about before on this channel, about 3 inches deep. Water enters the top of the filter barrel through a simple spigot connection from the storage line. Gravity pulls it down through the charcoal first, which absorbs chemicals, odors, volatile organic compounds, and dissolved organics, then through the sand, which strips out the fine physical particles the charcoal does not catch, then through the gravel, which lets the clean water drain freely to the bottom and out through a spigot at the base. What comes out is clear, clean, odorless water that looks and smells no different from what comes out of a municipal faucet. But I want to be clear, we still use municipal water for drinking and cooking. I am not going to tell you to drink unfiltered or home-filtered rainwater because I do not think that is responsible advice for me to give. Drinking-grade water requires UV treatment or a certified multi-stage system, and if you want that, have it installed by someone who knows what they are doing. But the water that comes through Yuki's charcoal filter is clean enough for everything else in the house: laundry, toilet flushing, mopping floors, washing the car, cleaning windows. The charcoal layer needs to be replaced about once a year. You pull out the old charcoal, crush it into the garden soil where it improves drainage and feeds microorganisms, and pour in fresh charcoal from a $5 bag. The sand and gravel last indefinitely. Total annual maintenance is 1 afternoon and 1 bag of charcoal. The fourth layer is distribution, and this is where the raised platforms pay off. Because the barrels sit 18 inches off the ground, gravity pushes the water through a garden hose connected to the bottom spigot without any pump at all. The pressure is not as strong as a municipal line, but it is more than enough for a soaker hose running slowly through the vegetable beds, a watering can filled in 30 seconds, or a hose washing down the front porch. For the garden and all outdoor use, the water does not even need to pass through the filter barrel, straight from storage to the hose. This is the first tier. For toilet flushing, Yuki ran a simple line from the nearest filtered barrel into the bathroom. She connected it to the fill valve on the toilet tank with a quarter-turn shutoff so she can switch between the barrel line and the municipal line if the barrel runs low during a dry spell. The water fills the tank by gravity the same way city water would. You flush, the tank refills from the barrel. One toilet uses roughly 5,000 gallons a year in a typical household. Ours uses 0 from the meter. For laundry, the filtered water connects to the washing machine's cold water inlet through a Y-splitter. The wash cycle runs on filtered rainwater. The rinse cycle stays on the municipal line to ensure the clothes get a final clean rinse with treated water. This is the second tier. The third tier is drinking and cooking. This is where I draw the line and where I think you should too. We use the municipal supply for this unless you have a certified drinking-grade filtration and UV treatment system installed professionally. I will not tell you to drink home-filtered rainwater because I would rather keep your trust than impress you with a claim I cannot guarantee. By separating water into these 3 tiers, our home uses municipal water for roughly 20% of what the average American household uses. The other 80% comes from the sky. Let me put the cost math plainly. 3 55-gallon drums cost about $60 to $90. 3 copper rain chains cost about $150. PVC pipe and fittings for the overflow connections and distribution lines cost about $20. The filter barrel with charcoal, sand, and gravel cost about $30. Mesh screens, hose clamps, adapters, spigots, another $20. Total setup cost when Yuki built it was under $200. Even at today's prices, you could build the entire system for under $300. 1 season of use saves you the equivalent of what most households pay in a full year of water bills. The system pays for itself before the first winter arrives. After that, it is free water for the rest of your life. And Yuki's system has been running for close to 40 years. She has replaced the charcoal annually, replaced the pump hose once, and replaced nothing else. The barrels are the same barrels. The rain chains are the same chains. The gravel has not moved. Now I want to tell you why more people do not do this, because it is not because the system is complicated, and it is not because it does not work. It is because in several states, collecting the rain that falls on your own roof was, until recently, illegal. Colorado had laws on the books for over 120 years that classified rainwater as the property of downstream water rights holders. If rain hit your roof and you caught it in a barrel, you were technically diverting water that someone else had a legal claim to. The law was based on a 19th century doctrine called prior appropriation, which was designed for settlers dividing up rivers and streams in the frontier West. By the time suburban homeowners started putting barrels under their gutters, the law had been on the books so long that nobody questioned it. Colorado only loosened the restriction in 2016, and even now, residents are limited to 110 gallons total, 2 small barrels, outdoor use only. Utah requires registration for any system over 100 gallons. Nevada ties collection to water rights permits. Arkansas requires a licensed engineer to design the system. These are not ancient laws preserved by accident. they were maintained and defended by water utilities and the municipalities that depend on metered revenue. Every gallon you catch from your own roof is a gallon you do not buy from them. The math is uncomfortable if you are on the other side of it. A neighborhood of 200 homes, each collecting 5,000 gallons a year, is 1,000,000 gallons the utility cannot bill for. At $80 a month per household, that is nearly $200,000 a year in lost revenue from a single neighborhood. Scale that across a city, and you start to understand why the regulations stayed in place as long as they did. And then look at what happened when the politics shifted. Texas went the opposite direction entirely. The state exempts all rainwater harvesting equipment from sales tax. Multiple Texas counties offer rebates for installation. The state actively encourages residents to collect as much as they want with no volume limit and no permit required. Why? Because Texas has experienced enough drought to understand that rainwater collection reduces strain on municipal systems, lowers stormwater runoff, and saves the city money on treatment and pumping. The same water that Colorado spent a century making illegal to catch, Texas will pay you to collect. Same rain, same roofs, different relationship between the utility and the homeowner. I am not telling you this to make you angry. I am telling you so you understand the landscape. In the majority of states, rainwater harvesting is perfectly legal. In Texas, it is actively encouraged with tax exemptions. In Oregon, Virginia, and Rhode Island, the state offers financial incentives. In most of the country, you can set up exactly what I have described in this video without a permit, without a license, and without anyone's permission. But check your state before you start. The laws have changed in the last decade, and they are still changing. The trend is toward more freedom, not less, because drought, aquifer depletion, and stormwater management have made it politically difficult to tell homeowners they cannot catch what falls from the sky onto their own property. The system Yuki built in our first year in this house was not something she invented, it was something she inherited. Her mother caught rainwater in ceramic jars in Japan. Her grandmother did the same. The women in her family understood that water entering a home should be used until it has nothing left to give before it returns to the earth. When Yuki came to America and watched the rain pour off our roof into the storm drain, she could not understand why no one was catching it. So she bought 3 barrels, 3 rain chains, a bag of charcoal, some PVC pipe, and a few hours of a Saturday afternoon, and she built a system that has outlasted the roof it collects from. We have replaced the roof once. We have never replaced the system. The water company sends a bill every month. The bill shows the minimum service charge. Yuki files it in her ledger with a note in the margin. The note says the same thing every month. She writes the word 0. Tell me in the comments what your water bill was last month. Not because I want to judge, but because I think most people have never looked at the number closely enough to ask whether it had to be that large. And tell me what state you are in, because I would like to know how many of you are in states where this system is fully legal and you simply did not know. There is something else I want to show you next. There is one crop Yuki has grown in our garden for over 20 years, using nothing but rainwater and gray water. It is something most Americans buy at the grocery store every week, and she says it tastes completely different when it has never been touched by chlorinated municipal water. I will show you what it is and how she grows it next time. Water that enters your home from the sky and passes through it 3 times before it returns to the soil is not wasted. Neither is the life that learns to use what it already has before asking for more.